back to Throwback Thursdays for another retro review here at the K.O.E. Nation. I am your King of Extreme, Lord Phil, K.O.E. Yes, here to give you another marvelous retro review from my time over at the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, but I thought it would be the perfect time for me to bring that over here to you at the K.O.E. Nation with just a little added Phil K.O.E. flair. So without further ado, folks, let's get to the show and enjoy this retro review. Welcome, one and all, to a premium spirits review. I am the devilishly handsome outlaw himself.
And about to get even more devilishly handsome the more we drink.
I don't know about that.
Well, I do.
You'll see.
I'm just, devilishly handsome as they come. Phil K.O.E., joined by my indomitable broadcast partners.
Thirsty Chicken.
Tony fucking G. Like, share, subscribe. Folks, this is one we have been eager for quite some time. We had to endure a sober February amongst myself and Chicken on the Dog and Chicken podcast show. Like, share, subscribe there as well. But he is here with us here on the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast to do a spirits review of multiple different scotches.
Single malt variety.
Now, we're not suicidal.
No.
We're just having small samples.
These will not be empty bottles.
No.
Hopefully.
But
we'll see how it goes.
I have resisted for long enough, gentlemen.
Yes.
I have been looking forward to getting into Lagavulin Isla single malt Scotch whiskey. This is one of the better examples from the Isles.
This is a 16-year, and this is probably one we should do towards the end, but you have been quite eager to try this. So let's just dive headfirst into this pool of Scotch.
So you're saying try that at the end? Well, pardon me while I just go ahead and open this right up, sir.
Little splash of water.
Lagavulin, my cleanest copita nosing glass.
Yes. Oh, you're going with the nosing.
Yep.
I'm sticking with the whiskey glass.
I'm good.
That does look good. I am a little... That's plenty. Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay. Phil's trying to get me a little messed up. There's more. Phil, this is only one. This is the first of 6.
We have plenty.
Ease into it, man.
Lagavulin. I've been looking forward to this.
Half the bottle down.
Oh, my Lord. 16 years.
I promised you we would not finish these bottles.
16-year single malt Scotch whiskey.
The nose, you do get some smoke and some heat.
Oh, wow. Oh, that is...
You don't even have to get close. This is one of those science experiments where you just do this.
Oh, I guess that is hitting me in a really unique way. The smell is one of the most intense senses for memory, and that is reminding me of something that I cannot put my finger on. But like something from my youth, like a clay or a Play-Doh or something.
You were raised out on a farm, though, so...
that does ruin my sense of smell in a lot of categories. That's cool.
So you
your
mentioned
smell...
smoky.
Yeah.
I definitely got the smoky thing.
Yes.
So I'm not a big, trying to go through that, but you definitely do smell smoke. You smell a little bit of booze in there.
I can't smoke, peat. It's almost like kind of like a fresh cut clover or something like that.
There is a specific smell I am getting from here.
There's some.
It'll hit me in a few days. It's going to hit me in several days, and I will comment when I finally remember what it is that I'm smelling.
It's like a lemony dandelion. Like that's a weird flavor to think about, but that's what I.
No, I have smelled this specific smell before, and I cannot think of it. Regardless, let's see how it tastes. Wow. Ooh. Ooh. Okay.
It's pretty
Oh,
good.
wow.
Wood, smoke.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, wood and smoke for sure, but very smooth.
I almost would say like a maple.
Bite?
What?
A maple?
A maple.
That, oh my God, I almost had it. It's like a, okay, do you remember, this is going to sound insane, but when you do like hand painting, when they would just squirt globs of paint on the table and you would just smear it with your hands.
Not getting that. Sorry.
That's what I'm getting.
Okay. I don't know if it's that. Maybe a magic marker. Black magic
There's something
marker.
there.
It's the black magic marker. I know it.
Okay.
Like I know
Magnums.
That, yeah, the big Magnum markers.
Oh my God, that is the nose.
Yeah. Nailed it.
That is the nose.
Phil didn't sniff markers. That's why he's the intelligent one out of the group.
Like,
Tony and I were
wait.
in the corner.
So who's wait.
Join us next week when we do our review of sniffing Magnum markers.
Be a great episode.
Wow, it's better.
No, that's not
It is.
happening.
It's
Better than I expected, but it has that smell, and the smell directly reflects the taste.
Mm-hmm.
The smell is exactly what I expected.
It's
to
not
taste.
wildly different.
No, it pairs perfectly, nose to taste. But it does have a very sweet initial hit. The bite has already gone
with
away.
a bitter wood in the back.
Yes, very.
Now, all right,
very.
Chicken, for these whiskeys, we're going to be grading them on single malt Scotch.
Okay.
We're going to be grading them on Scotch, general Scotch, brown spirit, and then top, middle, bottom.
We got a lot of rating to do here.
That we do. This
All right.
will be a
Oh wow.
video of record for the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, K.O.E. Nation, and Dog and Chicken Show.
All right.
Absolutely.
So, Tony G, as a single malt Scotch, woo!
I'm gonna give this a 3.
Okay.
It's not bad.
Not into the peaty, not into the...
I'm not big on peat. I'm not big on that super woodsy flavor, but out of that specific nose and flavoring, that's the best one I've had. It's a good year. Obviously it's a good Scotch, but yeah, I'm going to give it a 3 just because it's not my forte.
Okay. Chicken, single malt Scotch.
For a single malt Scotch, I actually do like the woodsy flavor to it. At first, when we're talking the marker smell, and I was thinking industrial smelling before that, but now like that last couple sips of it, and after that subsided, I don't know, it's gone for me.
Yeah.
And now like this is one where starting out you might have some complications. As I sipped on it, slowly finished that, and then did the last little shoot down there. I'm 4. I'm a solid 4 on that.
It's
that
good.
is good.
It is
single
good.
malt.
And it's soothing, yet you know what you're
I'm going
getting.
to be almost opposite of you, T, because I'm going with Chicken. It's a 4-star single malt. But now we move on to Scotch in general. If you were going to introduce someone to the idea, concept of Scotch, how would you rate this?
If I were introducing,
No,
that's complicated.
that is. I would not.
It depends on the person's style, but like most people that I would introduce it to, I would recommend this. As you know, it depends on the commitment, right? Because this is a little higher end, higher dollar. This isn't your casual Scotch drinker just getting into this. So maybe as a first-time introduction, if somebody's really serious and really loves their Scotches and they want to try this or get into the realm, I'd say 3.75.
You're going to hate me again, but I'm going to stick with 3. I would not use this to introduce somebody to Scotch, because for me, if I'm going to introduce somebody to Scotch, I'm going to go with like a Glenlivet. It's a trusted brand. It's a very straightforward Scotch type flavor. You know what you're going to get.
I'm so shocked Tony would go with the Glenlivet.
Yeah.
You knew that was going to get
It's
brought
the
up at
base.
some point.
It's the base for Scotch for me, and this is very far away in the spectrum of Scotch from a Glenlivet. So I'm going to stick with a 3. This is something you would have to ease somebody into on the world of Scotch.
As a Scotch, I'm going to have to agree it's a 3. It's a great Scotch, but not one I would introduce someone to the world of single malts. or scotches in general, that I would generally start with like a Cardew,
Or Glenlivet.
Glenmorangie.
or a Cardew, or a Dalmore, which we'll get to later.
Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Now,
We're getting there.
as a brown spirit, this is putting it up against all of the whiskeys,
Okay.
all of the rums, all the cognacs, armagnacs, all of the varying brown spirits throughout the world. 5-star scale, gentlemen.
2.75. You can't do anything with this except drink it neat, because I have a feeling that would be terrible on the rocks. You can't mix that, and it is a very specific flavor and nose. It's very straightforward. It is what it is. You can't do a lot with it. So I have to be harsher with my rating on that. It's good, though. I do like it.
I agree with a couple things. It's going to be hard to mix. It's going to be very specific on what you're using it for. I could see some cocktails being able to use that smokiness in there to give it a little bit of a fun flavor. But yeah, it's all scotches have a disadvantage to brown spirits, just for the mixing and the different things you can do. To
I do think it would be impossible to mix it. I don't think that would be one, but I do disagree with one thing you said, Tony. I think this would be marvelous on the rocks with an ice ball, just one big ice ball. I think this
those
would be
smoky ice balls. You ever done those? That would be perfect with this.
But yeah, I think this would be perfect on the rocks. So I'm giving it 3 stars.
That's when we'll have to do a second tasting with the rocks.
That we will do.
But sometimes with the rocks, it opens it up too much with some rise, and I kind of compare it to that.
I think we're on our way to some controversy.
Okay.
The
only one in.
Shelving. Bottom, middle, top shelf.
For me, blended can be middle or top, but for me, a single malt is pretty much always going to be on the top because it's always going to have an interesting name, an interesting flavor, and a higher price tag. So typically for me, you're going to find any kind of single malts on the top shelf, regardless.
This is your bottle. Would you put it on your bottom, middle, or top shelf?
If it were me, it would go on top shelf, but it's because it is probably one of the best single malts. I personally like the flavor. I'm a little biased towards it. I like the smokiness of it, so it would be on my top shelf.
So Lagavulin 16-year. I'm also going to put this on top shelf. It's a expert whiskey drinker's whiskey. It's not for the faint of heart, as they would say.
This is one you're going to graduate to.
Yeah, this is not one I would start off with. But
No.
So, Tony, if you'd be so kind to set this off the side there as wherever works. Now, gentlemen, we have 5 to go.
I'm partial. I've been waiting for this one specifically.
Okay.
This is one that we actually had recommended to us while we were in Houston by Sir Stash. Shout out to you. I asked him after we did our Royal Rumble review what scotch he would prefer, what's his go-to, what's his favorite, and he brought this up, and it just so happened Phil already had this bottle on hand, so I am excited
For you, Sir Stash.
to try this one out. If you have a water, you might want to rinse your palate with.
Tastes like I'm fine.
It helps. It makes a difference. When you do multiple in a row,
Yep, good to have a little water. So,
you got to cleanse it just.
Clyneish 14, age 14 years, an oak cask.
Yeah, I love this. I'm loving it. I'm loving it already.
This is a Coastal Highlands single malt. So we just had an Isla single malt. This is a Coastal Highland. So
Clynelish distillery. I am excited.
okay, that's a lot sweeter, a lot lighter nose,
Oh yes.
a lot lighter.
You get.
Little buttery oilness.
I was gonna say oily. The nose lingers a touch, and I like it because it's a nice aroma.
It's not nearly as overpowering. as some
No,
of these.
you gotta have to get into this one. But
So, well, gentlemen, let's see how the Highland.
I can
Coast
tell
goes.
I'm gonna really like this. Oh,
light cinnamon honey.
I get the honey.
Cinnamon, the cinnamon.
Like just the burn on your tongue is more of a cinnamon.
The initial cinnamon kind of turns into a honey, and then as it settles after you swallow, you get a bit of a floral pattern.
Yes. It wasn't fruity, but it was like an interesting.
Oh wow! I'm loving that.
That's good.
That's an excellent flavor.
Little tart with it too.
Yes,
Wow.
but not bad. So
A good tart. The burn isn't burn. It's more of a
it's like cinnamon.
tingle. It is smooth.
It's like cinnamon. If you just had a little bit of cinnamon in your tongue.
Oh, Sir Stash, I commend you.
All right.
To Sir Stash.
That is good.
So, gentlemen, as you know the score here, as a single malt Scotch. Well, Tony, boy,
I love that. I really like that. As a single malt, I give that 4 1/4.
Tony's really hard to please.
That.
Chicken?
So I did enjoy the last one a little bit more, but that's more by a single person flavor. But this is really, really good. I want to rate it lower than the last one, but honestly, this is really good. I go 4 on this as well. This is very smooth, very traditional. Good.
As a single malt, I'm going to go 4 as well. It ranks as good as Lagavulin as a single malt, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love that.
As a Scotch.
As a Scotch, I think somebody who was new to Scotch wouldn't quite enjoy all the, because I feel like the flavor is threefold. So I don't know if they would appreciate it as much. So if you were introducing somebody to Scotch with this, it would be a little bit harder. So I will go 3.75.
3.75.
I think that's fair. Some of the aftertaste, cinnamony. It's almost like a lemon burning. Not burning. I don't want to say it's that, but
no, it's much smoother than a burn.
If this was the first one I ever got or was just introduced for my first Scotch, it's good, but it's not great. I go 3.5.
Okay. I'm gonna agree with chicken here. 3.5 as a Scotch, just general Scotch. Now, brown spirits.
Again, with Scotch, it's really hard to, because we typically rate brown spirits differently as far as what you can do with them. With all Scotches, it's really hard to imagine mixing them with something, so that takes it a point down. But I really like this. I'm gonna stick with, I'm gonna say 3.5 on a brown spirit.
Damn, Tony's infamously hard to please in brown spirits.
I really enjoy that.
For a brown spirit, again, as Tony stated, there's certain expectations come along with it. I don't think this meets many of those, and this is going to be always a tough one for me to judge. I'm always going to go negative on this one. 2.5 at best.
Okay.
I could actually see some Scotch cocktails being made with that.
I think with the cinnamon flavor, you're right. You could.
I'm going to go 3.75.
Okay.
Brown spirit. I really like that one as, and I could see myself.
No, it's all personal.
I could see myself getting a full size bottle of that.
I am absolutely getting a bottle
for Scotch. Yes. To drink over the rocks, or yes.
I think that would be marvelous on the rocks. Top, middle, or bottom? That's a top for me, hands down.
Yeah, I would give it the top. I would put it there. It's good.
Yep. Yeah, it's top shelf. We're gonna be hard. So, gentlemen, we got Cragganmore, Caol Ila, Talisker, or the Dalmore 12-year. Which one are you after?
Let's wait on the Dalmore. I think just based on my expectations, we gotta wait till the end for that. Let's.
We have Talisker 10-year.
You pick one.
It's Cragganmore.
So we've had the 16 and the 14 so far. Let's bring it down to the 10.
Okay.
And see if it can compete with those before.
We got
you have a little palate wear, as you guys talk about. But
Talisker, single malt Scotch whiskey. Oh my! Made by the sea. So this is a coastal malt.
And I think those are going to be my. Just personally, I think those are I'm going to like a little bit more, but we shall see. Talisker,
See,
this is a 10-year. All right.
I've had this before.
You've had this. Okay.
Yep.
Indeed.
We're almost halfway through, fellas, and nobody's fallen over yet. So
We'll
let's get through this. Be strong.
We'll get there.
We can do this.
We can. And let's see if Phil gives Tony half a bottle.
Yeah, let's not do that. That's good. That's good. Let's not go crazy.
6-star whiskey.
Well, that's the other thing. I'm like, I want to do the Dalmore last, but I'm afraid I'm going to be 7 stars.
Yep.
All right. Ooh, like the nose.
Wow.
It's a very good compromise between the last two we just
I
drank.
was just thinking it's a good blend between the two. You get that smoky hit, but you definitely smell that honey sweetness that the last one had.
Yeah, there's some honey, a little bit of peaty.
It's definitely peaty, which, all right.
I got no problem with peat. Some folks hate it. Some folks love it. You're not as big a fan?
There's one specific Scotch that completely turned me off peat, and I think we will have to do that, and that's Lafroig. We will do that at some point, and hopefully my second tasting will be better now that my taste buds have become more acquired to Scotches, but don't hold your breath, folks. But I think this one's going to be good.
Peaty honey.
Let's give it a shot. I don't trust the smell. I got to taste this.
Ooh. Oh, there it is. Doesn't hit you right away, but that peat aftertaste.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then it immediately subsides and goes away.
Like you think it's going to be an overwhelming minty like that Macallan,
It does have a mint.
but it, like you said, it's like it's kind of like a wave. You ride it. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
come
yeah.
back up.
It's a minty. Hang on.
That's some expert distilling.
A honey mint. Then you get the peat, and then it immediately subsides, and there's no burn.
Like that's just artful, skillful distilling.
That
right
is.
there. Just the fact that,
Kudos.
like it just hits you just a little, and then it immediately drops back down.
And you really can't get a better grading than that for a single malt. That's a great review.
Gentlemen,
I like
as a
it.
single malt,
Single malt, 3.5.
I'd go 3 1/4. It lacks something. It's got a lot going on. It is
does.
good. 3 1/4.
There's something I know what you mean. You expect one more tidbit in there, and it's
that. And I think as a single malt,
I like
is this something I'm gonna sit and drink
okay.
multiple times?
Sure.
After a glass of this, I'll probably switch back to something else. Because
I'm saying 3.75.
Maybe it's just because it's a 10-year versus a 14 and a 16. So every year you get a little bit more out of it. So maybe because it's only a 10-year, it's missing just a little bit extra.
it's definitely
I get what you
missing
mean.
prior than the prior.
I'm giving it 3.75 as a single malt. I really like this stuff. It's
nice.
not overbearing.
It is nice.
No, it's not.
So,
It's
as
nice.
Scotch,
Scotch, I will say it. So I'm torn between 3 and 3 1/4. Either way, honestly.
I go 3 1/4 on it. It's a good Scotch.
I do like it.
is.
I'll
There's
go with
nothing
3
wrong with
1/4.
it, and you can't turn it down.
No, I would definitely not turn this down. This is very nice. For being 14 and 16 before it, this holds up.
I'm going 3.5. As a Scotch, I would introduce people to Scotch with this one.
I think you could with this. It, like you said, it might be missing just a little something because it's not aged as many. So you
but
could
it's a
introduce
good
somebody.
introductory.
Yep. No, I agree. You're right.
As a brown spirit, John.
Oh, 2.5.
2.5.
Damn, you're hard to please.
A brown spirit for Scotch it's got to be.
There's
low.
a lot you could do with this.
There's a lot
If
you
you
can
wanted
do
to
with
make
brown
some
spirits.
Scotch cocktails, this one, I'm giving it 3.
There's a few Scotch cocktails that this would work with, just with kind of the
Yes.
But
I would never.
2.5.
I would never cocktail a Scotch. It would have to be.
Rare. Very
It would
rare.
have to
Maybe
be something incredible.
Scotch just won't ever cocktail you. I don't know.
Maybe you're right. I don't know.
Now, all right, gentlemen,
I
the
like
Battle
it.
of the 12s.
Talisker, very good entry for only a 10-year.
Oh,
It's good.
also, top, middle, bottom.
Top. All single malts. Everything on here is going to get a top shelf from me. Spoiler alert.
Okay, chicken.
Hopefully.
I'm surprised. I didn't think it was going to be that good, and I was ready to just throw it in the garbage and call it a. No, it's top shelf. It is. It's good. I gave it some low scores, but
I can't disagree with anything either you gentlemen have said.
Okay.
Top shelf. So, Cragganmore or Caol Ila?
Let's do
A
the
Speyside or another
both-
Isla?
They're both 12. Let's do the Caol Ila.
Okay. We'll save the Speyside for last.
I think that's going to be.
Before we get into.
I just
the
have a
Dalmore.
feeling that I'm really going to like that. So let's.
Caol
dive
Ila.
into
I've been
that.
curious about this one.
Did you give yourself a splash of water?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So, folks, again, since we are doing all these different scotches
in a row.
it is in a row. It is absolutely vital that you give yourself a splash of water in your drink because it is so important. It opens up your scotch so much more than just having it neat. Phil, what's
Another half bottle.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, look at that. That's not even.
that's not
You're.
Okay.
Me, on the other hand, I'm having the meat to give me the full palate representation.
Water
Why is he
opens
gonna do
the.
that?
Because he's Phil
He's
and he's
got a
eccentric. Yeah, Phil's like, I'm better than you, and you know it. Salt
Well,
to the earth.
thank you.
Salt to the earth, folks.
Yes, you can tell we.
All right,
Yeah.
They don't even know all the other videos we've recorded before this.
All right, Caol Ila.
Wait,
Let's
did
hit
you
the
know
nose.
that? Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's Petey.
I'd say that's pretty close to the Talisker.
See, if you look, like just flat out look, you can tell before you even get into them. The Super Petey bottles and flavors are going to have that slightly green hint. That is your way of purchasing a bottle that you don't know anything about. If it has that slight brownish green tint, it's going to be peat.
I'm getting slight clove. Am I off on
Yeah.
that?
No, yeah, it's a fresh, not herbal, but yes, a grassy, yes.
I could inject a ham with this.
You could. You could. Actually, I don't hate the nose, though. It
Trust me,
is
as a guy
peaty.
that's been
Smooth,
using,
though. Like
It's a smooth peaty.
Yeah.
as a guy that has been using wine and whiskey in his cooking,
yeah, would be.
All right. This is a 12
All right.
year. All right.
Let's hit it, fellas.
Caol Ila. 12
Caol
year.
Ila.
Okay. I'll take your word for that.
I looked it up.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers, folks.
Mm.
Sweet and oily,
Very oily.
with a little bit of
Yeah.
mint on the back.
That's weird.
There
Makes
is-
your mouth water.
It
Right away.
does. It does make your mouth water. It does have the peat. It does have the
It's
wood.
like olive oil.
Yeah.
Olive
yeah.
oil.
That feel, it's
Yep.
like almost pasty. Like,
Yeah, like it's not like butter. It's like olive oil.
That is strange, but I like it.
Yeah,
It's different.
definitely the smoothest one we've had.
It is very smooth. For as peaty as it is, I'm surprised it's as smooth as it is. That's an interesting
I can
one.
see why that distillery has stood out over the years.
That is interesting.
So, gentlemen,
Okay.
as a single malt,
I think that's a little more complex than the other peaty flavors we've tried. As a single malt, I'm actually going to give that 3.5. For a peaty one, that's a high rating for me.
It is peaty. I get what you're talking about. However, that is really good.
I think it is good. I think
is-
it is
it is.
complex. It's got a lot going on.
Exactly, and
yeah, the nose has a lot happening that I can't even interpret it all right.
Mhm.
I think it makes up for a lot with that is really interesting. This is something I could just sit up. I could sip on this all night long. Never think about jumping and grabbing a different one. This is really good. I give it 4 1/4.
Wow.
This
I'm
is
up
really
with
good.
you. I'm
This
giving
is
it
my
4
favorite.
stars as a single malt. Yeah.
Wow.
Now you're infamously hard to please in every category. So,
On brown spirits.
well, we're moving on to Scotch.
oh,
just
just
regular,
Scotch. Okay.
regular old Scotch, sir.
I like the fact that it's got an oily, minty peat to it. that oily minty flavor with the peat makes it much more interesting. I will give this 3.5. I actually enjoy this a lot for being peaty.
Chicken?
I think it's fair. I probably lean more towards 3.75 just because I really like this. Like, this is so far of all that we've tried. This has been my favorite.
Okay,
this is good.
As a Scotch, to introduce people to the idea of Scotch, 4 stars. This is
wow.
I'm quite.
I agree. This would get, if this was my first one I ever tried.
I would never introduce somebody to a Scotch
because
with
it's
a
not
peat.
Glenlivet.
No,
this is
because it's peat.
Well, and
peaty.
They couldn't go backwards. Is the problem?
Okay.
If you did introduce this, so I'll defend.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It's
Once
like,
you've had peat,
I would never want a Glenlivet if I had that available.
Basically, your first introduction to Scotch kind of sets the tone for your entire involvement in Scotch. So if you have a heavy peat the first time around, that's going to be your preference if you enjoy it. If you hate it, and then you try, say, a Glenlivet or Glenfiddich, it's going to be a little different. So for me, I would not introduce somebody with this, but it is good. So top, middle, bottom, it's top.
Well,
it's still
brown spirits.
Oh, I'm
brown
spirits.
Yes, we're all going to agree this is top shit.
Yeah.
Let's get
brown spirits. I'm going to be pretty harsh on this one. You could do some with it, but again, I just can't cocktail Scotch. But the oily, minty, peaty, I don't know. You could almost put this with a ginger ale, honestly. I think you could put this with a ginger ale. So you know what? I'm actually going to give you this 3 on the brown spirits, because you could do this with a ginger ale, make it a bit bubbly. I think you could do that, and it would be good.
I think you could cocktail some of this. I'm going to agree. I'm going to go right on 3. I'm really harsh on Scotches in general for a brown, but I could see a lot of cocktails with this, and the ginger ale thing kind of perked me up. And now I was like, Phil, do you got any ginger ale?
Yeah, we're going to get some.
Working on it.
This is going to be a rough night.
Now, Tony, you're going to think I'm a madman, but I'm giving this as a brown spirit 3.5.
Really?
And the reason being, now this is why you're going to think I'm a madman. This stuff is good enough I could actually see myself, I was making cocktails, and I was even missing rum. I could see myself using this in a few cocktails as a replacement.
I can see that.
Really? As a replacement for rum?
The oiliness, not all of them. You're not going to make a good daiquiri with this, but no.
No!
But there's some cocktails that I could see this actually replacing rum. If you had no rum.
That'd have to be a very specific rum.
If you had
I don't know.
Do you remember how weird and oily the Hamptons was?
It's thick. This is not thick.
I'm on Phil's side with this one.
You haven't even tried the Hampton.
All right.
File on you both.
So I'm really impressed with Caol Ila.
This is definitely one of the better peaty flavored scotches I've had. I'm actually pretty impressed. Maybe it's just the fact that I've drank so much before it. But Caol Ila. Can you give me the pronunciation one more time?
Caol Ila. Thank you for the Home Shopping Network shop.
Yes.
Now, before we get into the Dalmore 12, Cragganmore 12,
Okay.
the Speyside. I don't think this one's going to be as peaty as we're used to.
Okay.
Because it's a Speyside.
Yep. Okay, so this one, 12 years. The color is actually beautiful.
Amber honey.
You got water? Okay. Yeah, for me, the coloration of that's the perfect color. If you're not gonna go super thick, dark like the Dalmore, that's the coloration I love.
So the Speyside, gentlemen, this is the only Speyside of this.
Cragganmore. It's a very intense, aggressive name.
Cragganmore.
Yeah, let's just put that out there.
Something that was on Lord of the Rings.
Single Speyside malt. Yeah.
And then they were overtaken by the Cragganmore.
It's aggressive. I like
I
it.
feel like there's dragons involved.
The nose is subtle.
Yeah, very subtle.
There's not a lot there. It's very light on the nose.
It's actually kind of boring.
I agree.
When you're comparing it to Lagavulin, yes, but it's a
I
sweet.
agree.
Like,
It's
now
So
I
where
know
we've come from.
I know the
it's boring.
No.
This is the lightest
Tony?
nosing.
Chicken. I understand the people from Cragganmore are going to want to reach through the screen and slap me when I say this, but this is reminiscent of Canadian whiskey.
Yeah, I'm getting sweet whiskey. That's the nose. Sweet whiskey. And it's very subtle.
And yeah, this is, trust me, Cragganmore, this is coming from a place of love. I think
Yeah,
some
no,
Canadian
he
whiskey.
is a very big connoisseur of Canadian whiskey, so that is a compliment, believe it or not.
I know you don't take it.
He's
this way,
comparing a 12-year-old Scotch to Canadian whiskey.
but there is a bit of
Like I kind of get the hint smell that he's thinking.
Yeah.
of, but
there's a woodiness on the back of the
Yeah.
nose, but there's that
Yeah,
immediate
it's just-
sweet.
It is, though. It's nice.
You
I
can-
like it.
you can smell it. Yeah, you can definitely tell this is.
Now, Tony, you work in a mill. The back of that nose has some smell that's in my mill that I can't.
Is it?
I got
Sawdust.
There's kind of a.
I got like a sawdust.
Is
With
it?
working in my garage, like the almost like the burnt wood, but then like the dryness with it. With the little
Are you thinking
chunks.
Milo?
No, I've never done
Oh, trust me, if you remember it, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, Tony, you're both right.
Yeah.
There's a sawdusty Milo smell.
But it's hidden. There's not a lot of nose here. We
On
are digging.
front of a
We
Canadian-
are digging.
That's the back of the front of a Canadian nose. I'm
Okay.
sorry, like I'm getting it.
You know, we're just getting too
All right, let's
involved
do
in
this.
the
I already
nose.
jumped the gun.
All right.
Guys.
It's fun.
This is interesting. It hits you like in a good way right away.
Oh, the flavor's much more intense than the nose. Oh,
That's
A little spice on the back.
That's shocking. Honestly,
Oh.
yeah.
honey. Oh, wow. Oh, hang on. Going back in.
Heading back in for second take.
Sweet spice. Oh, there it is. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's sweet and spicy.
No, that's
It's like a
that
tang.
that
Tang
back
spice. Yeah.
that back flavor. As soon as it settles, super honey. Wow.
with a bit of spice.
No,
Like a cinnamony spice,
I
but
get the
not.
cinnamon.
Yeah.
that is honey, folks.
Cragganmore, 12 years. So,
Wait. Sorry, our lighting sucks.
yeah. Learning experiences. So,
No,
as a single malt,
Wow. That
interesting one.
I hate going to the honey, but the honey is so
Because it's not there on the
overwhelming.
nose.
It's not on the nose. It's not on the initial flavor. It's on the aftertaste, and it is subtle. Again, I'm going to count this down. There. It literally, after you've swallowed it and it settles for a moment, it's like you took a honey bear and gave yourself a squirt in the mouth of honey, and it's sweet. I love it. I absolutely love
After I
it.
swished it on my mouth for like 30 seconds, yes, it's a lot of honey.
I
There's a little bit of
love
alcohol.
that.
So, single malt scotch, Tony.
Oh,
Wow.
love that.
So, you're going to be getting yourself a bottle of this. at some
Yeah, I'm getting a bottle of that. I love this flavor. It's subtle on the nose. The initial taste is good, and then the aftertaste of overwhelming honey. Absolutely love that.
I've
Four.
noticed you really like whiskeys where the nose and the palate are way different.
I do.
Well, you know, to each their own. So, 4 stars is a single
I
malt
like to be surprised.
chicken.
I like to be surprised.
I agree across the board on most of that. The thing that I'm in love with this one. It's still. I don't think it was my favorite one of the night, but I'm just in love with it because of that surprise factor. I don't know what it was. I was looking to be let down. You smell it, you're like, kind of smells like somebody like mixed it with water. Like there's not a lot going on here. You hit it. It's smooth. It's there's a lot going on there.
There is.
I agree. I'm just gonna go with a 4. It's not my favorite. It's probably right there. It's neck and neck. It's favorite of the night. I am really.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I could see why the fact that it having such a Canadian nose could be a slight knock against it as a pure single malt. I'm giving it 3.75. Still
pretty high.
Fine.
Still pretty high.
Fine single malt. But I could understand how some purists to Scotch could be a little.
You know what? So okay, on a
regular Scotch
ranking, I'm actually going to give this a 3.75 because I would use this to introduce somebody to Scotch.
How does it measure up against Glenlivet, Tony?
This is absolutely smoother than Glenlivet.
You were here for the day. You heard it.
No, okay, it might not quite hit the higher end Glenlivets like the 18, but you could absolutely introduce this to Scotch to somebody because of the overwhelming honey aftertaste that somebody might not. Honey aftertaste is something that you could use to introduce Scotch to people because if they're just drinking mixes or if they're just drinking beer, a honey aftertaste is a very pleasant surprise for just drinking something neat. Because that's a whole different world of alcohol.
Yeah, because neat, that's amazingly good.
It is.
Chicken.
It's great.
What? So 3.75?
Yep.
I'm going to take it a little bit further. I absolutely would introduce somebody to this first. It's not anything crazy. There's a lot going on, and honestly, this can get you into more like what we're talking about, the interesting flavors, and there's a lot going on, and I don't know a lot of people that would not just be impressed with that.
Specifically those two, I'm getting a mental note. Sorry,
I'm buying a bottle of that one. That's good stuff.
Cragganmore 12 is among one of the better 12-year single malts. It's up there with Cardew. You remember Cardew, right?
Oh, Cardew was lovely.
Get yourself a bottle of that.
Cardew was lovely.
That's the primary home distillery of Johnny Walker. So
Cardew is lovely.
Now here's an interesting one. Now for Scotch, 3.75 brown spirits, gentlemen.
Brown spirits, I will be harsher. It's probably 2.5 on brown spirits.
This is probably one of the ones that I would replace a brown spirit with just for drinking while I'm fishing or warming up while sitting in a deer stand or something.
You could put this in a flask.
Yeah.
You could. Yes.
This is something
that would be good for a flask.
For a Scotch, this will be the only one I probably do a 3.5 for because I feel like I could buy this little guy.
Wow!
I could take this golfing. I could take it fishing. I could take it hunting.
It's diverse in its use.
Now this one,
not for what you would use it for, but where you would use it.
I would not replace rum with any cocktail with this. But in terms of brown spirits, like you said, this is like the perfect flask whiskey.
Yes.
So I'm giving it 3 as brown spirit.
Fair.
Let's be frank. Is there anybody that's saying it's anywhere other than
top?
Totally
now,
top.
gentlemen, this one Tony's been looking forward to for a while.
Yes. Okay. We are here.
The Dalmore 12. Tony,
Okay.
would you be so kind as to read a little bit as to how the Dalmore 12 is made?
Okay. I've got an entire box here, folks. Here. Under the watchful eye of our master distiller, the liquid is initially matured in American white oak ex-bourbon casks. This gives its first base of soft vanilla notes. The liquid is then separated into 2 parts for its final flourish. The first part remains in the American white oak ex-bourbon casks, with the second transferred to the finest 30-year-old Matsusalem All-Sorrow sherry casks, exclusively provided by the renowned Bodega Gonzalez Baez. The personally crafted sherry casks give the whiskey its rich, nutty character. The 2 parts are then reunited so that the influence of the different casks harmonize to create something absolutely magical. And I threw in the absolutely.
So this has got high expectations all of a sudden.
Yeah, this is the bottle alone, if I may.
Ooh.
The bottle alone.
Gives you a pretty high expectation.
The coloration of this is gorgeous. It's brown,
You like
it's
them as
red,
those?
it's clear, but it's thick. And I love the bottle itself. The shape, the decal, everything about this is beautiful.
I must say also, this is my younger brother's favorite whiskey in the world. Of any whiskey, this is his favorite.
That's pretty good because actually I went into the kitchen.
He likes
earlier.
it as good as Crown Royal.
I went into
itself.
the kitchen to get us water earlier, and I noticed there's an empty bottle of this sitting there drying.
My
Phil's
brother-
had a bit of an intro to this.
My brother and I, we've liked this stuff.
All right.
I'll just leave it at that. But
How does it hit the nose? I
Yep.
love the
chicken's
color.
impressed with the nuts.
Extremely.
Ho, 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 ho.
It's so complicated
There you go.
because it's a mixture of sherry and American bourbon.
Yes,
Let me get
I
all
get that. I smell it and I'm like, oh.
Let me get all up
this
in
is-
there.
Right away, you're like, oh, this is kind of a.
You liking that, T?
Yeah, I do.
Right away, smelling it, you're like, yeah, this is a good bourbon or
And
a good whiskey.
Also, so you guys know, the Dalmore is one of the highest end distilleries in all the world. They put out bottles that are worth $5,000, $7,000, $10,000.
And
So
most
this-
of them look exactly like this.
And so this was just some stuff that they thought, let's put it in some different casks. It's maybe not quite good enough to be the $6,000 bottle, but
Exclusive 30-year-old casks to
Yep.
age. That's
the
impressive.
Dalmore is one
And the
of
12 is actually the lower end.
that is the lowest end you can possibly
This
get on
is low.
from the Dalmore.
So, color alone, beautiful. Bottle's gorgeous.
Yeah, a maple
Yes,
amber.
yes.
Real
It
dark.
looks like syrup.
That's the sherry. That's the sherry. Just and a little bit of
God.
bourbon.
All right, let's
The
do
nose
this,
is
fellas.
amazing.
Well, what smells you getting?
The nose is amazing.
Like the sherry is
I-
almost an orchard fruit raisin.
God. I get a hint of the
That
sherry.
sounds so corny, but you're right.
No, you absolutely
orchard fruits and
smell.
raisin.
You smell the sherry cask. You smell
You
that
do.
on the back end. But what I'm loving, like it's got a very, for me, it smells very boozy, but in a super good way.
It says 43% alcohol.
This is something I smell and say, this is going to not be a very good night.
Usually-
for my wife. Because I'm not gonna know. This is good.
Usually you get in there and you smell that boozy nose and you're like, ooh, but this
This is dangerous.
boozy in a
There's
great
only a
way.
slight bit of wood in the nose, but not much. I think
It's
that's just
subtle,
because it's
subtleness,
straight.
subtleness. Yes, let's
yeah,
drink.
that's the palate.
Oh, and Phil's even drinking with the Dalmore glass.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Wow.
Finished with a floral fruit on the.
Oh,
Yes, as Tony mentioned,
oh
the
wow.
Dalmore
It's
glass
slow.
came with
steady.
this.
Oh, that's got a
So
very
it-
slow.
Yeah. And it's like I got like a caramel feeling right now. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's, as a lover of cognac, this
Yes.
spreads across your palate
Oh,
like a single drop of cognac.
damn it.
Because that's a great thing about cognac. You put one little drop on your palate, spreads across your entire mouth.
Glad we waited till the end for this.
This does the same. So
Oh.
this one's going to be... Tony, what do you give this as a single malt?
You get, like he said, the caramel, but initially you get, I get a vanilla,
Yeah.
and then the
It's
caramel
almost like
sets
a
in.
caramel apple. Caramel apple. Am I off on that?
No, that's
Caramel apple on the nose.
wow.
I know. That's the one time my Americanness showed through. Sorry, folks in Scotland. Caramel apple.
I know we've done what?
Five other ones.
Okay, so we've done 5 others before this, and I was afraid of this, but that's
Don't be.
fucking
Judge it honestly.
incredible. I think if we would have done this first, it would have get the same marks. This
Yep.
is fantastic.
So as a single malt,
That's a 4 4.25.
It's hard to disagree with that. I'm gonna go with 4. It's really damn good.
Mm.
I'm interested on the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
mm, This one's good. Just
I'm interested what it's like without a dash of water, honestly. Because I think the water doled some of it out.
Well,
maybe I'd give it a higher rating if it was.
The water opens it up a little bit, so
I don't know if it does. I think it takes away from it.
Just smell it without the.
Yeah, see, I think it takes away.
Yeah, it's quite interesting
richer.
without the.
Well, all right.
Well, okay. Hey, this is for science, folks.
Yep, let's go with science.
Chicken?
Guess we're fucking doing this.
Do it. Come on. All right. Welcome back to Nebraska, son.
Yeah. Thought you could join us.
Yeah, well, it's the last one of the night. So.
All right.
Yeah. Want to record that, sir?
Ooh.
So, all right.
Oh, yep. Without the water, I'm getting honey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honey on the back end, but it's
Without the water, I'm getting honey. It's good either way.
It's better without water.
Yeah, this one you just drink straight. So
I don't know about better.
So
I don't know
single
about
malt,
better, but
you
it
gave
is different.
it 4. You gave it.
Now that I tried it without water, way better. I think 4 and a quarter. Like that's good.
I'm going 4.75 as a single malt Scotch. It's almost like if it wasn't for the fact that it was Olisoro sherry and American bourbon aged, it would be a 5.
Oh,
like
you're just marking out for all the fucking casting.
oh no, I'm saying it would be 5-star if it was pure single malt Irish.
Well, they've got plenty other options.
Oh, we're getting there. All right, now to Scotch, just regular old Scotch. Tony G.
The sweetness is good. The nose is amazing. The taste is good. The aftertaste is excellent. Scotch. 4 and a quarter.
4
Love it.
4.5. This is my new, and this is the low end.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it only goes up from here.
It just gets better.
Yeah.
So maybe I should hold myself back to a 4.
That's my thinking. Exactly.
But that is fantastic. Straight, no water, no ice. Just
Yep.
Oh,
This guy,
beautiful.
that's
beautiful.
They have a cigar malt that
Yeah,
on top of
hang
all
on.
that, they also age it in a wine Cabernet Sauvignon
You're
barrel.
gonna make me cry.
All right, in terms of Scotch, just Scotch, I'm giving it 5 stars. I know you can disagree. I don't care. It is
5. So there's nothing better.
Oh, there's others that are as good. But I'm saying in terms of introducing somebody to the world of Scotch,
Oh, yeah.
this would be.
Introduction.
Can you think of a better one as an introductory? Obviously, if you introduce somebody on a really expensive bottle, that's great. But
If you... 5.
For introductory, yeah.
hard to disagree. Yeah,
I 4.5. 4.5. I think that is close to
Browns.
the best thing you could have to start with.
Thank you, sir.
That's an excellent introduction, yes.
Brown spirits.
4.
I
Yep.
thought my last one was going to be the highest.
Mhm.
I could use this in a lot of things. I could do a lot with this. 4.
All right.
It's a brown spirit, 4 1/4.
And it's the low end.
I know, it only gets better from here.
Okay.
So, is there any dispute what shelf this sits on?
On
I'm
top
going
of the
totally
top
on the
shelf.
bottom.
Oh, yeah. So you can reach it easier?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want anybody else to see I have any. It's mine.
No, this goes in a decanter that you hide behind other shit that you don't share with people.
Yes.
You hide this behind other low-end liquors that nobody's ever going to touch. So,
No, this is decanter worthy, and for me, that says something.
That is something, especially with a darker.
Yep.
Most of the time, you don't find that dark of a Scotch that you like this much. This is.
I don't
and this
know.
isn't just the fact that we've gone through all these different Scotches. I have had this Scotch before tonight, and my marks would be the exact same. I'm sorry. This is, like I said, this is my younger brother's favorite whiskey in the world.
I get it.
Yeah, that's excellent.
How much a bottle?
This cost me 56 plus tax.
I will be getting a bottle of this.
I have seen them for more expensive in other places.
No, this is under $60 a bottle.
Or even at 60. That's
yes.
fantastic.
If you want to try Scotch, this is a good introduction. And for the price,
If you were let down by, say, a blended, like
yes,
Chivas
yes.
or some of the others, if you really
Yes,
want to try a
yes.
Scotch, that's where you go.
Yep. So, out of all the single malts in our tour tonight, I think we have come to the conclusion that
That's our winner.
That's the winner. All right, let me bring him back.
Yeah, bring them back in. They all did well tonight.
Bringing them back, folks. We've had a few drinks.
We've had
It's all good.
We've had a lot of drinks.
a couple.
Let's put the Dalmore right there in the center.
We've had 1 to 6.
Holy crap.
But hey, guys, we made it through it and we're alive.
For now.
So,
Oh.
this has been our tour of the island of Scotland via distillery. So, as I'm known to say around here, folks, all that being said, I am devilishly handsome outlaw himself, the Muhammad Ali of alcohol podcasting, signing off and handing it off to my indomitably inebriated partners
You're
in
pretty.
broadcasting.
You're pretty.
Oh my! Yeah, different partnership for me. No.
I like your muscly arms.
Oh no! So, folks, this has been the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, the Dog and Chicken Show, all of the great places where you can get your varying K.O.E. Nation content. Signing off and handing it off to my indomitable broadcast partners.
Guess what? Chicken butt. Like, share, subscribe. Love you back.
Follow that up, bitch.
Yeah, I can't. I'm Tony fucking G, and this was lovely. Lovely. Absolutely.
We're just getting started, fellas.
Yeah, we got more shit to do!
Woo!